Let's give it a few minutes. All right, y'all. Thank you all for tuning in to me this Saturday night. Let me go ahead and start my intro because I'm excited about tonight. So thank you all for watching. I'm Army Princess, a U.S. Army soldier. Been in the military for over 10 years now, and I love to share my experiences with you all. I have my co-host back tonight,
Mr. Army Princess, you know how I do.
And we have a special guest on tonight. So she is a National Guard recruiter, and you all always ask me questions every single week. So now I have somebody on that can answer your questions, better answer your questions than I can answer your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. You can go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me. So my name is Sergeant Bruno. I've been in the National Guard 10 years now. And my main job was MOS was 88 Mite, which is a truck driver. I have now been a recruiter for the past 3 years in the Atlanta, Georgia area, Metro Atlanta area.
Okay. Well, thank you for being on. I appreciate you coming on and answer the questions. Really quick, before we get into the questions that I already sent you, I just want to let y'all know that we do this every Wednesday, and I'm trying to come back every Wednesday and every Saturday at 8:30. So make sure you all tune in because we are very, very close to 25,000 subscribers. So once we hit 25,000 subscribers, we're going to have a 25,000 watch party and have a whole live party for y'all. And so for the people that are watching this on the replay, let me know, you can go ahead and type it in that you're watching this on the replay. But I have sent her some questions beforehand. So these are some of the questions that you all ask me all the time. So I am going to ask her the questions and let her answer the questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started, Sergeant Bruno.
Okay.
What is one piece of advice you would give to someone who is nervous about going to basic training?
I will say being nervous is normal. That is a normal feeling. That doesn't mean, you made the wrong decision. It's just you made a life-changing decision and you have the fear of the unknown. So it's totally okay to be normal. Everybody is normal when they join. But you also have to remember why you joined. If you always keep in the back of your mind why you joined, what made you make that commitment, you'll be fine going into basic training. And be open to learning new things about the military because during basic training, you're also going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about other people. So, just remember to, be open. It's okay to take in that nervous feeling, but you'll be okay. Your recruiters is going to prepare you for training. When you get there to basic training, your drill sergeants are going to make sure you succeed as well.
Yes, I know I was nervous when I went. I was nervous, but I didn't know what to expect. So
yeah,
I was just like, I'm here, but I was nervous. I was nervous once I actually showed up. Like going, I wasn't as nervous. But once I got there and I got to reception, I was like, oh, Lord, what is this? Okay, so thank you. And for the people that are watching, thank you. It's Cammie. Go ahead and drop those green hearts, y'all, on the way in. Let us know you here. I appreciate it. And hit the like button, too, so we can get more people in. So my next question is, what ways can people prepare at home before they leave basic training physically? Because I know that there's a lot of people that ask me questions about the new ACFT, and some people don't have all of the equipment at home. So what are your suggestions on preparing for the ACFT before they leave?
Yeah, absolutely. The number one thing you want to do is start running, getting used to your body, getting that endurance up. The other thing that you can do is what we call HIIT exercises. That means high intense interval training. So basically you're doing exercises at a high rate for a short amount of time. That's getting your heart rate up. That's going to prepare you for the ACFT as well. The next thing you want to do, if you don't have access to weights or anything like that, you can use, I've seen people use laundry soap with handles for weight resistance to build their strength. You can also Google a lot of body weight exercises that you can do. get off the couch. That's the main thing. You have to get off the couch you got to get your body ready to go to basic training. I know when I joined, I was a college athlete, but I hadn't worked out in almost a year. So as soon as I joined, literally like the next week, I would just like 3 days a week start running 1 mile, and then you just build off that. If you're a person that don't run at all, never ran, just start doing what I recommend to my recruits is 30 minutes, 30 minutes at least 3 days a week. Walk for 5 minutes and then run for 2 minutes. Walk for 5 minutes and just build off that. And that eventually, by the time you leave for training, you're going to be very happy that you at least started getting your body prepared to working out. Because if you don't do anything, when you get to training, it's gonna hit you hard. You're gonna be like, what in the world did I get myself into? So just getting started, anything will help.
That's some good advice. I never thought about that, like just walking for a little while and then running. Because some people have never ran. So for some people just being like, oh, well, go run a mile, that's a lot to them. So that's good to like work yourself up to it. And for the people that are watching that do have questions about like working out, I have a video on my channel. Can you see if you can find the video for me and put it in the chat, please? I have a video. Actually, he and I did a video together about how to get ready at home. And like she said, I think I use water, like the big gallon water jugs. So he's going to put the video in the chat, the link, so you all can watch that video. Next question, how to prepare for the ASVAB and pick a job. So this is a question that I get all of the time. And when I went to take the ASVAB, I didn't even I read like ASVAB for Dummies like maybe a week before, and I went in there and I didn't know how serious it was. So I wish, I don't know if it's frozen, but I wish that I would have taken it a little bit more serious. So if you can give us some advice for the ASVAB and then picking a job.
I would say definitely use your online resources. There's so many ASVAB online resources that you could use to practice different sections of the ASVAB, and also take practice tests. What you want to get used to, usually people have a hard time with the time constraint in each section of the ASVAB. So if you start practicing answering questions, with that time constraint, just getting better at it, you'll be prepared for the ASVAB. Books, the ASVAB for Dummies book, that was a book that I used, when I joined. But you really want to focus on, so there's like 10 sections in the ASVAB, but the main sections that you want to focus on are the math, the vocabulary, and the paragraph comprehension. Because although there's the general science, the mechanical sections, that doesn't determine if you pass the overall test. That just tells us what jobs you qualify for. So let's say, for example, you're really good in mechanics. You answer all 100% of the questions right, but you do poorly in the math sections or the vocabulary. Okay, sure, you qualify for all the jobs, but you can't join because you failed the test. So you really want to focus on those subjects. And then once you get the math and the English down, you can start focusing on those other subjects like the science, the mechanical, assembling objects. I always suggest, as far as when it comes to MOSs, being open-minded, because unfortunately sometimes on the ASVAB we don't score high enough in a particular section to qualify for that particular job. It all depends on why you're joining as well. So, if you're someone that is in a situation where you need the military as a stepping stone, be open to, jobs. Don't be so honed on like I got to do a medical job, but your ASVAB score isn't, high enough to do medical jobs. So get your foot in the door, retake the ASVAB, because that's always an option. And then when it's time to change your job, you can definitely, do that as well. But if you are someone that, you already have a college degree, or you're not joining because, you're in a situation where you need to join the military, you're just doing it because whatever reason you're doing it. If you really want a particular job, then don't let anybody force you to join to take any job. Do the work, study, find out exactly what sections you need to study for that particular job. put in the work, and then get that job. So because once you sign that contract, that's the job you're going to do for that
That's what I was
contract.
going to ask you. So I got a question real quick. What about, because I get people that say, well, my recruiter told me to just pick this job, but I really don't want it. And I don't know if they've already signed or not, but is there a way that you could go back and change, or once you pick that job, that's it?
Once you pick that job, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, because I get that question all the time, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think you can, but I don't know. Like, if you haven't left for basic, if you could switch, if there's still time.
No, usually, but there are people who, once they come back from basic training, AIT, and they get to their unit, I would say usually you can change your job within probably about 2 or 3 years. It depends on what the Army has as well available. It's always what the military has, but there are instances where you can change it after training, but the likelihood of that is low. Whatever job you sign for, that's the job you're going to do.
Okay.
I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I tried to reclass, and my MOS wouldn't let me out, so I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I wanted to reclass to the public affairs, remember? But my MOS was balanced, so they wouldn't let me out. Okay, so what is the hardest part of basic training in 2021?
In 2021, I would say it's definitely more mental than physical. Because it's more mental than physical. Don't take anything personal, especially regarding the drill sergeants. They don't know you, you don't know them. Their job is to introduce you to the military, what we do, how we work, but you're going to be homesick. There are going to be periods of time. It may not be when you first get there. It may be a couple weeks into it. It may be by the time you graduate, but at some point you're going to get homesick. But you just have to mentally push yourself, because especially those that aren't used to working out every day, your body is going to be sore. You're going to be tired. It's going to be long days. You just have to mentally, tell yourself that what I tell my recruits is, you're going to eat 3 times a day. You're going to eat breakfast, you're going to eat lunch, and eat dinner. So if you're having a mentally tough day, just like, hey, I just got to make it to breakfast. And you make it to breakfast, you get to chill out, then be like, hey, I just got to make it to lunch. You're going to make it to lunch, and then by that time, you're going to make it to dinner. And by the time you make it to dinner, the day's over. You get rest, and then you start the next day. So don't look at it as a whole, like, oh, I got 6 weeks left. Make small goals, but it's definitely more mentally challenging than physically, because you're not in your home, you're not in the comfort of your home. You don't have your cell phone, your mom, your family, your friends. You don't have access to them, so that's where you lean on your battle buddies, the people that you're in training with. You guys build a great relationship. Friendships. I know I have friends that I went to basic training with 10 years ago that we're still really good friends, because you all go through this experience together.
Okay, that's some really good advice. I like the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because we all know you was like crying when you was in basic. You was just
Really? I don't think so.
We know you was crying, sitting there crying in basic training.
It always has an end. It all ends.
It does. It always. Yep. It's going to end at some point.
Yep, for sure.
All right, y'all. So the people that are in the chat so far, I see we already got some questions going. We still have, I think I got one more question for her, and then we're going to open it up to question and answer. But please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for me, y'all, so we can get more people in here, because the more y'all hit the thumbs up button, the higher it reaches it up in the search engine in YouTube, so people can see us. So y'all can ask y'all questions. But I have one last question, because this probably is one of the biggest questions that I get all of the time, as far as how do I choose between like National Guard, Reserve, active duty. So people are like, should I go active? Should I go reserve? Should I go guard? And for me, there was only one option. Like when I went in the door, I wanted to leave. I wanted to go active duty, but I know that's not everybody's situation. So for somebody that's not sure what's the best case for them, what would be your suggestion on them choosing?
It definitely depends on them doing their research and talking to every component recruiter. So that way you have more options. So don't just go with the first recruiter and what they tell you, you know, say, hey, thank you for the information. So let me go talk to another recruiter to make sure this which one is the best fit. It also depends on, you know, you're like you said, for you needed to leave, you're ready to go. So if you're in a situation where you need to leave your environment to get away for a couple years or whatever, active duty I always recommend active duty. So for example, if I meet a recruit who don't have great family support, you know, that doesn't have a good job, you know, don't want to go to school or can't afford school, and if they did could afford school, they still don't have a good living situation, and then active duty all means, because I don't want to recruit someone who's stuck in the National Guard for a couple of years, but still trying to figure out if they got somewhere to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's better to go reserve or National Guard if you have a stable living situation. You know, you can work full time or part time. Reserves and Guard is great for those who either want to go to college or trade school or technical school right away. That's the first thing that they want to do, and focus on, because you get to go to college or technical school or trade school full time. Active duty, you can go to college, go to school, but you have to think about the Army, the way it works, you know, mission first. And then after the mission, that means, you know, working 10 to 12-hour days. Then in your off time, after that long day, you can maybe take a class or two online. Versus the reserve and Guard, you know, you can go ahead and get your education out of the way. And then once you have your degree, you can go active duty. Like, no, and then that would give you more options. So it depends on the needs of the person and the wants. But in my opinion, what I usually recommend, you know, if you're looking to get education out of the way, definitely look into the reserve or the National Guard. But if you want to put education on the back burner, active duty all the way.
Okay, that's some great advice, because I know I get that all the time. And I also get, should I get my degree first, or like I'm in school, should I finish college first, or should I go to the Army and do my degree? And I always tell people, like, especially if you're in school already, to go ahead and finish your degree and then join. But I know I have one subscriber that she's not on this live, but she usually come in every live, and I think she has her degree, or she's about to get her degree. The girl, the real LA. And she she asked about like officer, like joining should she finish her degree so she could join as an officer, or should she just come in and then finish her degree in? But
gotcha.
For the people that are in school, like, I usually tell people to finish their degree first.
Yep.
Yeah, might as well just go ahead and finish your degree.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you answering all of my questions. If you all have some questions, I'm going to put it in the chat here to open it up for you all to ask your questions. I know we had a few people that asked some questions already. Let me try to go back up here. I don't know how to say this. Joylesi said, how do you know if you made the right decision to join the military? I'm really thinking about joining after I graduate high school.
It's Carmona. I'll pick the easy one. First name's tough.
What do you think? What do you think for that? The answer to that?
Oh, I mean, I like what she said about the stable environment. If you don't have a plan, the military is a good place to start with the ball, and then formulate your plan while you're getting paid.
What do you think, Sergeant Bruno?
Yeah, like you said, if you like I was saying earlier, if you have a stable environment and if you want to go to college or go to school, then definitely look into the reserve or Guard. Or if you're not sure if you really want to go to school, then definitely, you know, like you said, go active duty, figure out your plan, you know, do one contract, and then once you have your plan, then, you know, you can get out active duty. Or I always recommend staying on active duty until you have a plan. Then once you have a plan, you know, then you can get out and pursue those goals and dreams.
That's some awesome advice. That's good advice. Hello, Melody. Melody said hello. London had a question about scores. I don't know anything. Oh, well, that sounds like an ASAP question.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know anything about. People be like, is 95? I don't know. So you could probably best answer this question.
Yeah, so the ASVAB score ranges from 0 to 99%. It's a percentile. In the Army right now, you need at least a 31. So a 77 is a great score. You'll qualify for a good bid.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So thank you, London. You probably answered a lot of people's questions.
London
Hey, Logan. Thank you for
job.
coming in. Logan is always in the live.
Mm.
It's Cammy's always here too. How does a transfer from one state guard to another state guard work?
Okay, so what you'll want to do is first initiate it through your chain of command, let them know you're considering going to another state. And then what you'll do is in the state that you want to move to, you're going to have to find a unit that's going to accept your MOS and your rank to make sure that they have a slot. If they do, you get that commander, you get a letter of acceptance from that commander. And then basically what the two states do is they do all the paperwork. It's called the IST coordinator. So Georgia has an IST coordinator. For example, let's say you wanted to transfer to Texas National Guard. So Texas IST coordinator work together for your paperwork. And you can go ahead and you don't have to wait until that paperwork is officially like done. You could go ahead and move to Texas and just do your drills out there until it's complete. So you just have to find a unit in the area, in the state that you're moving to, that accept you for your rank and your MOS.
Okay.
Easy enough.
Yeah, that's easy enough. It's just kind of like putting in a transfer for other stuff that you would normally do.
Mm.
So I don't think we have any more questions. Y'all can ask y'all questions if you have any questions. Oh yes, 151 said active duty, huh? I think that's pretty much it right now for the questions. Did you have anything what you want to add?
No, I think that was some good advice about except differentiating between the guard, reserves, and active duty.
Yeah, because I get that a lot. And I like that. Like you said, if you don't have a stable environment, then active duty, because there's a lot of people that I know I get a lot of people that want to leave that have kids, and I don't think you can go active as a single parent. I've been hearing you can, and then you can't, and then you can. But
you can if you give up
guardianship.
Yeah, guardianship.
Okay.
Versus the reserves and the guard, you're just doing a temporary a family care plan basically. That's all you need.
Okay.
In the reserve and guard, because you're just leaving for training and then coming right back.
Okay. Nobody ever answered that, but that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you going on a vacation, but it's not. How do you get your pair? I don't know what that means. If you can restate the question, I'm not sure what she's trying to ask.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
London has another question. Well, comment. I went guard as a 19 Delta because I didn't make weight initially, so I needed a heavy MOS, and it came with certain benefits. After my first contract, I probably changed my MOS. I didn't know you could do that. Sergeant Bruno, can you explain how TA works for those in the guard? Ooh, that's a good question.
Yes. The TA website just changed from Go Army Ed to Army Ignite. But the way it works is you go to the website. You basically apply for your classes through the website, because that's how your classes are paid for, through the Army Ignite website. You basically make your degree plan through that website, and then it automatically the website automatically verifies that you're not flagged or anything to get your classes paid for. And also in the guard, most states, I want to say about 25 out of the 50 states have 100% tuition waiver, because in the guard you get state benefits and federal benefits. So definitely look into your state education benefits. I don't know what state you're in, but you may be, all states have an education benefits It may not be 100%, but you get state education tuition assistance and federal. So definitely go into a recruiter office in wherever you live. They'll tell you about all the education benefits. Usually guard in the reserves or in the guard units, the education stuff changes and new stuff come in all the time. So your unit may not be up to date on the latest education benefits.
So I have a question about the health benefits, because I know, you're not a full-time active duty person. So do you have to pay?
Yeah, it's called TRICARE Reserve Select. For a single soldier, it's about $40 per month. And then for a family, it's about $200 a month. But you go to a civilian doctor, you don't have to go to a military installation.
Okay.
That's nothing. That's cheap.
$200 though, depending, like if you are private with a family, that could be a lot. But I guess you got your full-time other job, so
yeah, right.
Hopefully you can pay for it.
It's way cheaper.
Well, yeah, it's cheaper than the outside.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
That's a good deal.
So I think she restated her question. How do you get your parents to let you join the Army even if you're over 18?
She didn't finish typing.
If you're over 18, you don't need your parents' consent. I mean, we run into the issue sometimes where parents don't want their kids to join that still live at home. Ultimately, you're 18, it's your decision. Only time you need parental consent is when you're 17. So you just gotta, decide if you want to go against the grain.
Yeah, because I had that question before, and I actually made a video on it like a long time ago, because a lot of people were like, well, what if your parents don't want you to join? And I'm like, you like you said, you have to make your decision. I'm not telling you to make waves with your family, but you got to figure out what you want in life, what you want to do. And then a lot of times parents don't want them to join because they're misinformed. So I tell people, like, what's making your parents think that way? Like, why do they not want you to join? Because a lot of it is what they see on TV in the movies, and what you see on TV in the movies is not the real army, it's not the real military, it's nothing like that. So you can't base it off of the movies and what you see on TV, because it's literally nothing like that. So they're probably misinformed, which is making them think the way they think. So maybe educate them if they have like beliefs or issues or strong reasons why they don't want you to join.
Yeah. That's a lot of it. They're misinformed.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. And like, oh well, I heard or this or that, or I saw or like so and so was in the military 20 years ago.
And it's so different now from 10 years ago. It's different. So.
Yes, even from the time I joined, it's totally different. So like your experience in 2021 is not going to be the experience your grandfather had or your dad had or whoever had back in the day in Vietnam and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, Cammie, how many years does the national contract last?
Vietnam was a long time ago.
We have different contracts. You can do a 3-year contract, a 4-year contract, a 6-year contract, and an 8-year contract.
So, I didn't know that. I didn't know you had they were already kind of laid out.
It's a long time.
8 years? I guess that's somebody that's ready to go, but they should just go active. If you finna be like, I'll do it for 8 years.
Yeah.
Off the rip. I have to do that through my unit after I come back from AIT, right? I don't know if she's talking about transferring.
I didn't know I was a transfer person.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler, for dropping the green hearts. London said I'm in PA. It is 100, but I'm not going to a state school, so it won't be the full amount.
Right. So yeah, if you go to a private school, it's not 100%, but hey, that's less student loans you got to take out.
Yeah.
And somebody last week was like, I heard active duty don't make that much. And I forgot what she said. I heard active duty don't make that much. The pay is trash. I said, hey, the pay come every 1st and the 15th. And I'll be ready for my paycheck every 1st and the 15th.
Like clockwork.
Some people last year they didn't know when their next paycheck was coming. So I was happy to see my little trash paycheck.
Yes.
I really want to join, but I don't know if I could because I'm gay. I don't see why that would stop you.
at all.
That should not be a determining factor. That should not be something that, would disqualify you from joining. So if you want to join, you better get your butt down to the recruiting station and tell them to sign you up.
And they will put you in.
Especially nowadays.
So if you go to college and you are National Guard soldier, how does deployment work?
This can be a twofold question, but if you're in college, so you can volunteer for deployment. Of course, if you volunteer, that doesn't mean you're going to be picked. I volunteered twice and still didn't get picked. But if you're in college and let's say, for example, your unit is up for deployment, you let your training command know that you're in college. They'll put you in a pile that says, hey, this soldier probably can't go to training because of college. And then what they'll do is find somebody to replace you, because in the Guard, especially in the state of Georgia, there's people that volunteer, that join the Guard strictly just to deploy, but they don't want to be active duty. So
they kind of take up the slots first. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, and a lot depends on the deployment. A lot of the times they want people that are experienced. So somebody that's deployed 2 or 3 times, hey, let me get them versus this new soldier who just got back from AIT, who's in college, so there's a lot of different variables in deploying. Like I said, I've been in 10 years. I never deployed. I wanted to deploy, but I didn't get picked.
That was a good question. And then Sydney dropped some green hearts. Thank you for dropping green hearts. All right, y'all. So we are at 30 minutes. I wanted to keep it kind of short tonight. So if you all don't have any more questions, I appreciate y'all joining the live and hitting the like button and dropping the green hearts for me. And I appreciate you, Sergeant Bruno, for coming and answering all of our questions.
Thanks for having me.
Kind of cool.
Real knowledgeable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have you on again.
I know that much about the Guard.
I learned a lot tonight. So I appreciate it. So we are gonna go ahead and end the live. Oh, somebody said I'm 17. What do I need to do?
Talk to a recruiter and also your parents. I've been working with a girl the past couple months that's 17. Dad's on board, but mom's not on board. You're 17, gotta have parental consent. Just convince your parents. If you convince your parents, you're good.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end the live, y'all. We will see y'all on Wednesday. Thank you all for joining, and then you can stay on, Sergeant Bruno.
Okay.